A San Antonio mom went into labor a few months ago. She knew, like any new parent, her life was about to change. But she says nothing could have prepared her for what was next. Flor is a former colleague at KENS 5, and now we're helping her raise awareness to this rare, hardly known genetic disorder that often goes unnoticed until birth.
The first time I held you in my arms,
my name is Flor Ramirez.
you fell asleep all snuggly and cozy.
And this is Merly Janice Ramirez.
There was a time Flor Ramirez doubted she'll ever get to hold her baby.
Look at the teddy bear.
We had been trying for 10 years to have a baby. We found out that we were pregnant and we were super excited.
But a new path would unravel. At 34 weeks pregnant, Flor went into emergency C-section.
I noticed that we didn't hear her crying. We heard doctors calling out things that were wrong. Missing fingers on this hand, missing fingers on this hand, missing toes.
And he said, Mr. Ramirez, this is the reality of your situation. There's some birth defects that your daughter has, and you're gonna have to accept that. And it was like at that moment, at that time, hearing those exact words come from that doctor was like a ton of bricks just hit me on my chest.
Merly was born with Apert syndrome, a rare genetic condition. Rushed to the NICU for weeks, fighting for her life.
That was probably the scariest moment of my life because all I wanted to know was she okay.
As you can see, Merly is doing just fine, but not without trials and tribulations the last 6 months.
Give me that book.
Apert syndrome is responsible for causing the early fusion of the skull, hand, and feet bones.
It creates devastating consequences to the brain and to the eyes.
Merly has already had 2 cranial surgeries.
There we go.
Dr. Mark Miller and Dr. Isabella Tereshevich did the operation.
In Merly's case, we actually needed to do her surgery somewhere around 2 or 3 months of corrected age in order to give her brain room to grow from the constriction that the premature fusion of her sutures in her skull came into play.
Let's just check you.
Merly will need many more surgeries as she gets older.
Oh, look at that little head just growing.
For her head, jaw, hands, feet, and possibly more.
Ken, bless you.
But blessed is how they feel. Doctors say normal life is possible with early intervention. Now the Ramirezes are spreading the word to help other parents who may feel isolated, but also to foster empathy.
Because she's different, she gets a lot of stares. When our children are looking, instead of saying, you know, don't look or don't stare, educate them, you know, on that it's okay to have children that are different. They're not scary, they're not monsters.
That's what keeps us going, you know, and that smile, I mean, how can you know, yeah, that smile is the thing that keeps us going. We're very blessed.
I asked God for something special. I asked him for you.
Now, if you would like to learn more about Apert syndrome, you can always follow Merly's message on Facebook and also use the hashtag #MerlyGirlStrong to help us raise awareness to Apert syndrome. And if you would also like to help the family with their medical bills, we have a link to their GoFundMe on kens5.com. And Flor, we love you. We're always thinking about you. And you know you always have our support.
Sarah, you mentioned that she was facing, obviously, a bunch more surgeries. You can see in the video the fingers and all in there.
Right.
Are they going to separate the fingers and toes at some point, or
yes,
some of them anyway?
That's the plan. Right now, all the focus is on her cranial for growth, for brain development, I should say. But then eventually the plan is to, once she turns like about a year old, is to separate her fingers and her toes to help her out. So many more surgeries to come for her, that's for sure. And we've also included, by the way, a variety of links and videos with the story on kens5.com. If you'd like to read a lot more about Apert syndrome, as far as we know, there was only one other family in San Antonio with a child who also has Apert syndrome.
Amazing.
It's very rare.
Amazing.
Yeah.